the basis of their cotyledons, that is dicotyledon and monocotyledon. So what are these cotyledons? Means the leaves which are present inside the embryo. So if I start with the dicotyledon, so here two cotyledon will be present in the seed, whereas if you go to monocotyledon, here only single cotyledon will be present inside the embryo. Now if you talk about root system, so in dicot plants the root system will be taproot, whereas in monocotyledon plant the root system will be adventitious root. Now again if you come to dicotyledon plant, so stem will be branched. So you can see the many example like mango tree, various shrubs, herbs, they have a number of branches, whereas if you come to monocotyledon, here branches are absent, they are unbranched plants. Now if we talk about leaves, so here in dicot leaves will be reticulated, like something like this. It will be something, so here the venation reticulate, here you can see the net like structure, that is a reticulate venation. And in monocotyledons the venation will be parallel, it will be something like this. Other than this, here if I talk about dicotyledon, so vascular bundle will be conjoint, collateral and open. Means here there will be a cambium present between the xylem and phloem, whereas in vascular bundles of monocotyledon it will be conjoined, collateral and closed. So in dicotyledon, as cambium is present between the xylem and phloem, so we can see the secondary growth in dicotyledon plants, whereas in monocotyledons secondary growth will be absent. Now the vascular bundles will be rings will be present in dicotyledon, means here the vascular bundles will be arranged in rings, whereas in monocotyledon plants vascular bundles will be. Now if you come to bryophytes, tuber and gemma are present. So these are the vegetative structures which can, if come in the contact with water and they come out from the body, they can, if they get the favorable condition, they can give rise to a new plant, but no such kind of structure is present in the pteridophytes. Whereas if I talk about, like we all know that alternation of generation occurs in all the plants life cycle. So if you see the life cycle of bryophytes, so sporophyte will be semi-parasite or totally parasite on the gametophyte. But in the pteridophytes, both the generations are independent. Means sometimes it will be in the form of prothallus structure gametophyte, and after some time it will be changes from the new sporophyte plant. Now sporophyll is not leafy like in the bryophytes, whereas in this pteridophytes sporophyll will be leafy. So these are the few differences between the bryophytes and pteridophytes. Now the next question. Now give the importance of botanical gardens. So now the next question is, what are the importance of botanical garden? So actually it helps to maintain the record of local flora. It also helps in monographic work. So it also provides the facility of collection of living plant, and it also supply the material for the botanical studies like seeds, and it also provides the different kinds of plants. It also provides research and laboratory work. So this is all about some importance of botanical gardens. Now the next question, give the importance of herbaria. So what are the importance of herbaria? So it helps to carry out the research programs for fundamental or applied value, whereas it also facilitates exchange of loan and preserved plant material for the various purposes, research work and laboratory studies. It also it also fulfills the public demand for studies of different kinds of plant material or specimen. Now very short answer questions. Now the first question is, what are the cryptograms? So students, if I talk about cryptograms, so what are these cryptograms? हाँ वही मैं बोल रही हूँ कि अभी इसमें सर्च मत करो. Their own food, they are photosynthetic. Other than this, they have a chlorophyll A, that is a very necessary pigment, whereas they also have a accessory pigments like chlorophyll B, chlorophyll C, chlorophyll D, carotene, xanthophylls, phycoerythrin. So these are the pigments of algae. You can write about the nutrition and pigments of algae. Other than this, if you talk about, we can also write down about the reserved food material of algae. So it is in the form of starch. So this is all about the general characteristics of algae. But other than this, we can also write down about the reproduction of algae. So as we all know that algae divides by three methods: vegetatively, asexually and sexually. So what happens vegetatively? Vegetatively they divide by the process of fragmentation. As earlier we have discussed about the spirogyra. So when it get the favorable conditions like proper nutrition, water and space, so each and every algae divides into three parts, and each and every part of the part can give rise to a new individual. Other than this, they also divide asexually by motile or non-motile spores. Other than this, they also reproduce sexually by fusion of gametes. Other than this, they show alternation of generation. So one generation will be haploid, or one generation will be haploid dominant, and other generation will be short living, that is and diploid or sporophyte. So haploid generation means here in algae the body is thalloid, means the body is not well differentiated into root, stem and leaves. So that's why the algae have they are not, their body is thalloid. So because of that, if you see main plant body will be gametophyte, and the short-lived body will be the sporophyte. So this is about the general characteristics of algae. We can here we have discussed about the two examples. So there are many examples of algae like spirogyra, Eulothrix, volvox, chlamydomonas. So you can write down all these examples. Now the next question is, enlist the general characteristics of pteridophyta with two examples. So students, if you recall, what is pteridophytes? These are the first true terrestrial plants on the earth. Here body is well differentiated into root, stem and leaves. So that's why they have a vascular tissue present, so that they are vascular plants. They are also known as vascular cryptogams. Why cryptogams? Because they are come under the cryptogams. They have a concealed reproductive system. They do not develop any kind of flowers, fruits or seeds. That's why they are called the non-seed bearing plants. Now, if you recall about the leaves, we can also write down about the leaves. So leaves can be scaly in equisetum, otherwise it can be simple and sessile in Lycopodium, whereas pinnately compound in ferns. So pinnately means actually like if I talk about pteridophytes, their leaves are like feather-like. We can also write about the life cycle. So most these kind of algae shows the heteromorphic alternation of generation, means one phase will be sporophyte, so another phase will be the gametophyte. Now sporophyte, here a main plant body is in pteridophytes, the main plant body is sporophyte, means the body will be well differentiated into stem, roots and leaves. So here, as the main plant body is sporophyte, it will be diploid dominant, whereas gametophyte will be haploid, green and independent. Why? Because they show haplodiploidic life cycle. So here both the stages will be independent, but the main plant body will be sporophyte. That's why we say that main plant body is sporophyte and it is diploid and dominant, and it is long-lived plant body. Examples can be Lycopodium, Nephrolapsis, and we can also take the example of Equisitum. Now students, very short answer questions. Now what are the cryptograms? So if I talk about cryptograms, so actually there are many plants of kingdom Plantae are come in the category of cryptograms, like algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes. So what are these, why are they different from phanerogams? Because they are the spore producing plants. So cryptograms are the plants which will produce the spores. They do not produce any kind of seeds. Other than this, if you talk about their reproductive system, so it is hidden somewhere inside the leaf. So means you cannot see the reproductive system. So here, like if you see like meaning of cryptos, cryptos means concealed, means the reproductive organ will be concealed in the cryptograms, and they are spore producing plants and they do not produce any kind of seeds. Now the next question, name the accessory pigments of algae. So as we know that how algae are divided into different classes according to their pigments and their stored food material. So what are these pigments? So if I talk about necessary pigment, that will be a chlorophyll A. But there are many accessory pigments are also present in algae. These will be the chlorophyll B, chlorophyll C, chlorophyll D, carotene, xanthophyll, other than this phycocyanin and phycoerythrin. So these are the few accessory pigments of algae. Now give any two examples of bryophytes. So students, bryophytes are the plants which are called the amphibious plants. So if you see the example, as we can take the example of liverworts like Brixia, Markensia, whereas in mosses we can take the example of Funaria. Now the next question, who first used the term gymnosperm? So actually the gymnosperm was a word which was first coined by the Theophrastus in 300 BC in his book Inquiry of Plants. is mixed plant. So heterosporous plants which produce spores will be of different size, small size and large size spores will be called, and the large size spores. So there are Bryophytes, few pteridosperms and angiosperms subgroup which are heterosporous of will size. Question is, what do you mean pollination? Of indirect pollination, like if you see the, so what happens there, it has to reach to the female reproductive, the pollen grains, female reproductive part reach to the stigma of female reproductive, stigma style. So that top carpel, that is the stigma, pollen grain, then it is through pollen tube. Pollination is called the pollination. Question is, define monogamy. So here, let's hear the fertilization. Pollen tube. Fertilization will occur tube and most gymnosperms and will come in the category gamete. Next question is, to which belong. So this is a list which come in the group gymnosperm. These are the kingdom plant. Now we are done with all this.
Choose the right kindergarten, a right bag, and matching bottle to go with. The right school, the right friends. Choose the right subjects and score well. Be an expert in all. The right teacher, and make sure that they like you. Choose the right timing, the right bus, and take a cab if getting late. The right train, and don't stand near the gates. Mind the pockets. Better get into ladies' compartment. Make sure your mustache hasn't started coming. Choose the right study time and forget games, IPL, IHL, rock and metal, guitar, X. The right group and be a model to your brother. Seriously. Choose the right syllabus, the right test paper. Keep guessing questions for exams. Choose the right branch, the right college, the right stream. Choose the right career. Lucky to have a father's business to take care of and a father to allow that. The right counselor, the right form, and make sure the project is submitted on time. Choose the right website and rely on your friends for more information. Oblivious of the sites they have been to, there is no end to your woes. Getting better with every step you climb up the ladder. The summer vacation shorter, the bucket list bigger. The night darker, the books heavier. The only light you have is your friends ahead of you. Probably he is right. Ever thought how he got the direction? No more spending your energy and money on coaching classes. No more missing classes for rain, rally, and nonsense. Get your interest back in subjects through our creative ways of teaching. Doubts, concepts, applications, all explained through one vibrant animation. Subjects covered by multiple teachers with repeat telecasts. Special programs only for basic foundation and paper analysis. Personality development, career counseling, admissions, hobbies, all covered. A new approach to study with long-term perspective. So sit back comfortably in your homes and watch Study Spectrum TV channel.
The short answer questions. So first question is, name various groups of vascular plants. Give one characteristic feature of each group. So what are the vascular plants? Means the plants in which have xylem and phloem tissues will be present. So what are those plants? So these are the pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. So these are the parts, the kingdom plants, few groups of plants which have a vascular tissues present. So let us start with the Pteridophyta. So here these are also called the vascular plants, and they are the first land plants which have a well differentiated body. That means the body is divided into root, stem and leaves. So if I talk about Pteridophytes, so they are the vascular plants, and why? Because they are the first terrestrial plants. You can write about this. Now if you start with gymnosperms, so here these are also the vascular plants. So here seed formation occur, and they are the microspore producing, they have a microspores producing microsporophylls and are aggregated, and they form a male and female cones. So that's why they are also called the conifers. So this is actually a unique example, a unique characteristics of gymnosperms. They do not have flower. They have a cone-like structures, that is microspores and microsporangia and megasporangia. Now angiosperms. So if you see the characteristic of angiosperms, they are also vascular plants. So their unique feature is double fertilization. Means here body is divided like two types of fertilization occurs. Means male pollen grain have two male gamete. One male gamete will fertilize with egg cell, and another male gamete will fertilize with the secondary nucleus. Other than this, there is one more characteristic of angiosperm, that they are the they are divided into two subclasses according to their cotyledons. So these cotyledons, what are these cotyledons? These are nothing but these are the seeds-like structure present inside in the embryo. So these, according to these cotyledons, again the angiosperms are divided into dicots and monocots. So dicots means seeds have two cotyledon and they have a taproot, whereas if I talk about monocot, so they have single cotyledon and roots are adventitious. Means in dicot root will be taproot, in monocots root will be adventitious. So these are the some things which we can write in this question, like name various groups of vascular plants. So what all you can write? You can write about pteridophytes, gymnosperm and angiosperms and their unique characteristics. Like firstly, when we came to pteridophytes, we have seen that these are the first terrestrial land plants. In gymnosperms, these are the conifers. Means the sporophylls, when aggregate, they form the microsporophyll and megasporophyll, and they form the cones, so they are also called the conifers. Whereas if I talk about angiosperms, so what is the unique characteristics? Here double fertilization takes place, and again the angiosperms are divided into two classes, dicots and monocots, on the basis of their cotyledons. Now the next question, differentiate between gymnosperms and angiosperms. So students, as what all are the main difference between gymnosperm? How can we distinguish that whether the plant is gymnosperm or angiosperms? So the first very important thing, that gymnosperms are called the naked seeds plants, whereas if I talk about angiosperms, so they have an enclosed seed. Now if I talk about gymnosperms, so leaves are generally dimorphic and scaly, but if you recall about angiosperms, here the leaves are broad leaves. Other than this, we can take the one example, that if you see the xylem of gymnosperms, so they have only tracheids, whereas in the xylem of angiosperms have tracheids and trachea, both are present. Now if you see the pollination, so gymnosperm pollination is direct, whereas in angiosperms pollination is indirect. Now if I talk about gymnosperms, so microsporophylls forms the cones, whereas if you see the angiosperms, here cones are completely absent. Now you can also write about gymnosperms have a single fertilization, whereas angiosperms have a double fertilization occurs. So these are the few characteristics through which we can distinguish between the gymnosperms and angiosperms. Now the next question is, write a note on botanical gardens. So what are these botanical gardens and what is its history? So the origin of botanical gardens are of any countries associated with its history of its civilization, where gardens and parks are established in various periods. So actually, what is this botanical garden? What is its use? So it is a place where plants are cultivated for scientific, educational and ornamental purposes. They grow local flora. Other than this, they often including a library, local flora, and they provide facilities for the collection of living plant material for the studies. They also provide the seeds for its botanical investigation. So these are the few things which we can see in the botanical garden. Other than this, they also contain herbaria, greenhouses and research laboratory. So this is all about the botanical garden. Now the next question is, give a brief account of herbaria. So students, here what is herbaria? So it involves collection of drying, pressing, mounting, stitching, deposition, poisoning. So these are the few things which are the techniques of herbaria. So here, what is the preservation technique? So mainly it includes the drying and pressing of the leaves. But succulents plants are also present. So what happens to those? So those plants are preserved through a of same types. Suppose that a plant can be like phytogeographically, means that kind of particular plant can be found in India. So it can also be found in other country like China or Pakistan. So or India. So means some plants are phytogeographically similar, or because of that. Why? Because of their climatic conditions or weather conditions. So here, if I talk about regional herbaria or national herbaria, so it will cover respectively neighboring countries or phytogeographically similar plants. Like suppose that there are many plants which can only be developed in climate colder regions. Like so that particular kind of plant can also be grown in different countries. So here we will not include only our country's plant. Here we include phytogeographically similar plants. Means that kind of plant which is grown in this country, it can also be grown into the different country according to their climate and their weather. Now, so this is all about regional herbaria. Now, what is local herbaria? So it represents a region within a country. Means, now if I hear regional herbaria, what would happen? It will include geographically similar plants. Geographically or phytogeographically similar plants. Means it can include all the plants which can be come and in a particular kind of weather or climate. Like this kind of plant, it can be grown in India, so it can also be grown in other country. So here we include neighboring countries' plants also. So this is about the regional herbaria. Now here what happens in local herbaria? So in local herbaria, actually it represents a region within a country, such as a state or our own country or district, or even a similar area such as nature reserve. So this is about local herbaria. It means it will not include any neighboring country plants. We will include only there is a restriction of a country. Means there can be a particular kind of state. Means there are many plants which can grow in a particular kind of state that cannot be grown in different state. So because of that, this kind of herbaria, that local herbaria, will include countries such as state, district or a similar area such as nature reserve. So this is about local herbaria. So now I think you are clear with regional herbaria. So regional herbaria will include geographically or phytogeographically similar plants, whereas local herbaria will include a plant which will come under the same country, state, district or a nature's reserve. So this is about local herbaria. Now, other than this, what is a third herbaria? So this herbaria, this kind of herbaria has educational institutions including school, colleges and universities. So usually they serve a very specific area or they have a very limited scope. So these are about the types of herbaria. It will include regional herbaria or national herbaria, local herbaria or herbaria of educational institutions. It will include school, colleges and universities. So students, here we have discussed about what is herbaria. So what is actually herbaria? Herbaria means we preserve dried plants material through the mounting or drying or pressing it. So it can be of three types: regional herbaria, local herbaria or special herbaria. So special herbaria have some limited scope. Now, herbaria of educational institutions including, so it includes colleges and universities. So here what happens, it preserves national, regional, local plant wealth and it also helps to carry out different research programs. So this kind of herbaria, like these kind of herbaria, what they do, they actually help in the purpose of doing different kinds of research, scientific studies. Other than this, it also facilitates exchange and loan of preserved plant material for various purposes like exhibition and research. Means, what is the meaning of loans? Means we also exchange the plant material or particular kind of plant for the exhibition or a research. Now, the song among the following: Zamia pygmea, Semi-Permarins, Taxodium. So the pygmea. This was found on Earth. So students, here we have discussed about like what is herbaria, why it is important and how many kind of herbarias are there. Now if I talk about India, so in India also there are many herbarias and they have a number of specimens. So if I start with the first, it is Central National Herbarium, Kolkata. So number of specimens are there 20 lakhs. So if I go to Central, if I talk about Central National Herbarium, Kolkata, so there they have 20 lakhs of specimens are present. Now in Industrial Section, Botanical Survey of India Museum, Kolkata have 50,000 of specimens are present. Other than this, Herbarium of the Forest Research Institute, Dehradun have 3 lakhs of specimens are present. Other than this, Herbarium of the National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow has 80,000 of specimens are present. Then the Southern Circle Herbarium, Coimbatore have 1,90,000 of specimens are present. Other than this, in Eastern Circle Herbarium, Shillong have 1,15,000 herbarium are present. Then Western Circle Herbarium of the Botanical Survey of India, Pune have 1,20,000 specimens are present. 8. Central Circle Herbarium, Allahabad have 45,000 of specimens are present. Other than this, the National Circle Herbarium, Dehradun has 60,000, number of 60,000 specimens are present. Whereas a Blatter Herbarium Mumbai have a 1 lakh specimen of herbarium is present. So here students, we have discussed about the herbaria, like what is herbaria. We need it for the drying and pressing of the plant so that we can do various scientific studies. Other than this, we have also discussed about succulent plants, that there are many plants which we cannot dry or preserve it. So for this we need some liquid preservatives like formaldehyde, acetic alcohol, etc. Other than this, we have also discussed about herbarium can be of three types: national or regional herbaria, that includes geographically or phytogeographically similar plants, whereas local herbaria includes it represents a region within a country, like it can be plants of state or district or nature reserves, very particular kind of plants. Other than this, there are some special herbarias are also present, that includes schools, universities, institutions or colleges. So other than this, we have also discussed about how many herbarias are present in India and how many specimens they have. So students, now we are going to discuss about taxonomy keys. So what is taxonomy key? It is an analytic aid which helps in analysis of similarities and dissimilarities. Other than this, each taxonomic category has separate taxonomic keys, and key uses couplets made up of a pair of contrasting characters. Each statement of key is called lead. So what is, as if I talk about taxonomic keys, it is an analytic aid. So what is its role? It helps in analysis of, like suppose that if you have to know about a particular kind of animal or plant, now where you have, in which order or family or genus you have to keep a particular kind of plant, what do we do? Firstly, we know about what are the similarities they have and what kind of dissimilarities they have. So according to that only we classify the particular kind of plant or animals. So each taxonomic category has a separate taxonomic key, like suppose that we have to classify a particular kind of plant. So we need to know about where phylum, that's phylum, order, family, genus, class. So they have every category has their a particular kind of taxonomic key, and that key uses a couplets that is made up of a pair of contrasting characters. Whether they have suppose that you have to know about a particular kind of plant, it is in angiosperms. So whether they have a seedling or they do not have. So we need a contrasting characters, means we need a opposite characters of a particular kind of plant or animal. And each statement of the key is called a lead, means a particular, every statement will give it to a lead. Other than this, taxonomic aids also used in manuals, monographs, means how do we compare the particular kind of plant. It also includes catalogs or floras. So this is about taxonomic key. So before knowing clearly about taxonomic key, we should know about the what is taxonomy. Most plants are foundations are algae, pteridophytes. So actually this option C, the answer is, this is the group sporous plants, sporous as well as head. Answer will be pteridophytes. Now is gymnosperms by the absence. Options are trachea. The next option is poem. Next formation, the last formation. So students, like A, B, C, seed cells in flower condition are true for there is no any formation. So option will be D, that is, so the answer is formation. Process is absent sperm. That's why they are called. Now is that in angios. So options are self cross pollination only, and so the answer will be the option indirect pollination. Why indirect pollination? So why indirect pollination? Here the ribs are carpel, style and ovary. Stigma, that is the top most the pollen grains, the pollen tube to ovary. So this type of pollination, direct pollination. Indirect pollination. Question is, mycorrhiza are found. So the options Pinus, hibiscus. So yeah, option B, pine. The next question absent in is Monocotyledons, all in gymnosperms. Secondary growth is absent, so the answer will be Monocotyledons. Why? Cambium is answer will be mono. Question is presents in place of characteristic of gymnosperms, Bryophyta, and so the answer will be where the rhizome instead of roots, root and they water and minerals. See the Bryophyte. Second option, that is a B, Bryophyta. So students, now we are done answers of kingdom plants. Students, the lesson very